don't worry, you'll be the next one let go during company layoffs. AI is changing the rules if you pick the right skills. So in this video, I'm going to show you 7 high-paying AI skills that employers desperately need and exactly how you can master them to make yourself irreplaceable. Almost 500,000 tech workers lost their jobs since 2023, and many of them were highly skilled and still got replaced. Some of them were my friends. They still are. And watching them lose work despite their talent hit me hard. But a few, they pivoted. They picked up AI leveraged skills and they're now making more than they did in big tech. So over the past year, I've been obsessing over one question. What are the skills that make you irreplaceable in an AI world? And I dug through dozens of industry reports, research papers, case studies, and I believe everything points to these 7. And the last one, it's the skill that nobody talks about, but once you have it, clients never stop coming back. I believe we live in an age of speed and outcomes, not degrees and certainly not 10-year plans. But most people fall into the trap of skill chasing. They jump from tool to tool, course to course, stacking half-learned skills and feeling productive while never actually monetizing anything. And I know it feels good, but it's just a dopamine trap. Or even worse, an excuse to never move forward and choose to be paralyzed by fear of imperfection. The truth is that being great at one high-value skill beats being average at 7. Companies will not hire generalists who know a little bit of everything anymore. They hire the person who owns a lane and can deliver the result. And I believe that's what makes you irreplaceable. And here's where a lot of people, especially solopreneurs, get stuck. They think they need to do it all themselves, but that's not leverage, that's ego. My husband and I work together so well because we have complementary skills. I don't try to do everything or be everything, and neither does he. We rely on each other, and that's what allows us to move fast, to ship results, and to actually serve the need while it's at its peak. Because I believe the reality is that if you spend 4 years mastering 7 different skills or more, by the time you're ready to sell, the environment will have already shifted. Opportunities nowadays are quite perishable. The people who win are the ones who pick one high-paying skill, they go deep, fast, and monetize it while demand is still at its highest. So don't think of these 7 skills as a shopping list. You don't have to check everything off. Think of them as a compass. Your job is to choose one, go deep, and then build or partner for the rest. That is how you become irreplaceable. So the first lane is what I call the visionary strategist. And I understand it might sound abstract, so let me explain. The brutal truth is that most companies are experimenting with AI, but 85% of AI projects fail. Why? Well, not because the models are bad, and certainly not because the tools don't work. It's oftentimes because there is no clear strategy. Companies just chase shiny tools, but no one is asking the bigger questions. Where does AI make us money? Where does it save time? Where could it blow up? And that gap, that gets filled by the visionary strategist. This is an AI business strategist, if you think about it. It's consulting and decision architecture. It's the person who designs how AI fits into business decisions. It's basically like being the architect who draws the blueprint before the builders arrive. And before you jump to conclusions, no, you are not just recommending tools. That is not the point. You are designing the entire decision architecture, which processes to automate, what metrics to track, and how to manage the ethical, the financial, and the operational risks within that particular business. And I think I read in Harvard Business Review that this is the most critical gap in corporate AI adoption. So there's clearly a need for it. And if you're thinking, but can't AI just do it itself? Well, what you might not know is that only about 30% of consulting tasks can even be automated in the next decade, according to McKinsey. The rest requires human judgment, context, and a lot of trust. And I mean, whether we agree with the exact number or not, that's not the point of this video, but I do know that AI cannot fully replace this. Now, let me give you an example because I think that always paints the picture better. BCG worked with IBM on a comprehensive AI transformation strategy. And instead of random pilots, what they did was they built a systematic roadmap focusing on support functions, on legal, IT, and procurement, and I think HR as well. And as a result, IBM unlocked $3.5 billion in cost savings and 50% increase in productivity over 2 years. I mean, that's a huge impact even for a company that size. And companies are paying for this clarity. Right now on LinkedIn or even on Upwork, if you look, you will see businesses hiring AI strategy consultants. I mean, think about that. People aren't paying for prompts or for tools. They're paying for confidence. They're paying for someone who can sit in the room and say, here's how AI fits in your business. Here's how to make it safe, and here's how to get results with it. That's the visionary strategist. You provide an AI adoption roadmap, you provide ROI models, readiness assessments, governance, risk compliance guidance, and so on and so forth. Basically, consulting, but for AI. So how do you become the visionary strategist in 30 days? You don't need a PhD. Let me start there. You need a very good framework, a clear offer, some business acumen helps if you have it, and probably most importantly, the courage to get started. Okay, so let me break it down. In terms of the 30-day sprint, I believe what you can do in week 1 is to read all the industry reports that you can get through, but not with AI. Actually read them, whether it's McKinsey or HBR or Deloitte, I don't care. And then go ahead and summarize the insights into an AI value thesis. It could be 1-pager. And there you can use AI. I'll give you that. And then in week 2, you can learn about ROI and risk models. At its core, you're helping a company answer this main question. If we invest this much money into AI, how much time or money do we save, or how much new revenue do we generate? And what hidden costs should we be mindful of as well? So what you can do is build your models and draft a few slide AI adoption roadmap. This might seem complex, but if you do have any business or finance background, I'm sure you can do it. It's actually not that hard. And then week 3, you can run 2 to 3 mock audits, either on your friends' businesses or anybody else who would be willing to be a guinea pig for you. And what you want is to identify and document time or cost savings or new opportunities. And then in week 4, you can launch your offer. You can call it the AI readiness audit for a fixed fee. And then you can follow with a fully fledged roadmap where you can charge a lot more. But look, strategy without execution is just paper. I know back in my consulting days, we used to say that our clients many times get a report and then they drop it into a drawer and forget about it. So with that in mind, once you design the roadmap, companies are probably going to ask, okay, now how do we adopt it? So that's what lane 2 can offer. That's the design thinker, the one who actually turns the roadmap into an automated or more automated workflows. And if you want speed, this is where the real money shows up, in my opinion. So if you're excited about all of this opportunity, but you're also realizing that there's a lot more out there than just stitching tools together or being at surface level, then I genuinely recommend taking a look at the Applied Generative AI Specialization program delivered by Simplilearn in partnership with Purdue University Online. It is one of probably the most comprehensive and practical ways to master agentic AI, RAG systems, LLM-powered applications. It is a 16 weeks program, and your learning curriculum that has been reviewed and approved by instructors and advisors with decades of experience in enterprise AI and software engineering. It includes over 70 hours of hands-on training across tools like LangChain, OpenAI, DALL-E, Hugging Face, and Copilot. So if you're serious about mastering this new wave of AI, not just for fun, but for serious business AI applications, then this is, in my opinion, a high leverage move. You can go ahead and apply now via the link down in the description, as well as the QR code here on the screen. Cohorts are limited and admission closes soon. So go ahead and check out the next admissions deadline and make sure you sign up before that. And if you're building your career for the long game, this might just be your launch pad. Also, thank you Simplilearn for partnering with us on today's video. So let's get into the second lane, the design thinker. This is the workflow optimizer, the person who redesigns processes so humans can focus on decisions while AI and agents can handle the repetitive work. And this is not about duct taping tools together. You will be re-architecting how a business runs. It's like redesigning a kitchen so the chef can spend less time walking and more time cooking, okay? And this is extremely valuable because most companies don't actually have broken technology. What they have is broken processes. And both McKinsey and Deloitte found that the majority of productivity gains don't come from adding new tools, but from rethinking the workflow itself. And here's something that you might not realize. Those improvements require human insight into culture, into the organization, because AI cannot map a messy process or navigate team politics. Only a human design thinker can do that. And the demand is exploding. I mean, look on any job board and you will see AI workflow designer, AI automation architect. All of these are popping up everywhere and companies are paying top dollar for process redesign projects. If you're wondering, okay, but what does this exactly do? Let me give you an example quickly. We've seen, for example, a marketing agency that had people manually handling customer onboarding, taking up to 3 hours per client. And then a design thinker came in and mapped the process and automated 60% of the repetitive steps. I think it was with Zapier, Make, and AI integration. The result was that the onboarding and proposal creation time dropped from 3 hours to 1 hour, and it cut manual work by 70%. I mean, that is the power of the design thinker. You make businesses faster, leaner, and more scalable. And if you're thinking, okay, I get the point, but what would a client actually expect from me? What they would expect is that you can analyze their current state and map that, and then design the future state and provide agent specifications and automation opportunities and KPIs so that they know how to measure success. And if you put your mind to it, you can become a design thinker in 30 days. It's not easy, but I mean, a lot of great things in life require effort, right? So what's the 30-day sprint? In the first week, what I would do would be to learn the basics of business process management, that's BPM, and design thinking. There's loads of resources online, but what you want to make sure is that you understand how to break a process into clear steps and spot the bottlenecks. And then on week 2, I would learn what today's automation tools and AI agents can actually do and get familiar with the possibilities as well as the limitations. And then on week 3, I would take 2 to 3 real processes. It could be onboarding, invoicing, customer support, and then redesign them using what I would have learned and show the before and the improved after. And then week 4, I would package that redesigned process as a process audit as well as an agent roadmap. And then I would include the current workflow, the optimized version, and the expected savings. And I would go and pitch that to a lot of businesses. And look, the thing is that once workflows are optimized, companies want more than efficiency. They want to actually implement it, okay? So that is lane 3 that you could also consider. And I'm calling this one the architect, okay? This is the AI stack design and integration specialist. You've got a working prototype, maybe even a successful pilot. But here's the harsh reality. 42% of companies abandoned most of their AI initiatives in 2025, up from just 17% in 2024. I mean, that is a huge change. And according to Rand Corporation research, over 80% of AI projects fail, twice the failure rate of non-AI technology projects. I mean, that's quite astounding. And if you're wondering why, well, it's because prototypes don't scale. When you try to push them to hundreds or thousands of users, they break. That is where this role, this type of skill becomes irreplaceable, okay? The architect, which is, as I said, this AI stack engineer, is the one who builds systems that actually work, sometimes at enterprise scale, even if it's not designed for an enterprise user. The architect's role is to design the backbone, the data architecture, the API integrations, the security frameworks, the deployment infrastructure. So if you decide to pursue this, you'll be the one who takes the proof of concept and turn it into a production-grade system that can handle real-world traffic, data volumes, business requirements, and so on. And if you're thinking, oh, that sounds great, but can't AI do that? How is this irreplaceable? Well, because AI is not plug and play at scale. The Rand Corporation study identified inadequate infrastructure as one of the 5 leading causes of AI project failure. And many times, companies cited cost overruns, data privacy concerns, the security risks as the primary obstacles, according to the S&P Global Market Intelligence's 2025 survey of over 1,000 enterprises. But look, when done right, the returns are massive. So I think I read about this company called Lumen Technologies that projected $50 million in annual savings from AI tools that saved their sales team 4 hours per week. And Air India's AI virtual assistant handles now 97% of over 4 million customer queries with full automation. I mean, clearly there is a use case for this type of skill. And the market reflects this value. Now, of course, these are projects delivered by entire teams, not a solo engineer. But this shows, I think, the huge potential. And not only that, but there are, for example, loads of jobs looking for this exact skill set on Upwork, okay? So here's a quick example of how a project for this type of skill could look like. An e-commerce brand wanted to deploy an AI recommendation engine, and their prototype worked in tests, but crashed under live traffic. And then architect, an engineer, came in, rebuilt the data pipeline, deployed it on a scalable cloud stack, and added monitoring. And within weeks, the system not only was stable, but the company's revenue per customer jumped by 18%. I mean, that is the leverage that the architect, you, can bring. You don't just make AI work, you make it bulletproof at scale. So if you're thinking of pursuing something like this, you need to feel comfortable providing your client with system architecture design and cloud infrastructure setup, whether that's Azure or AWS or Google Cloud. You need to be comfortable with API gateway configurations, with data pipeline engineering, with security implementation, with monitoring, with observability, with performance optimization, disaster recovery planning. I know that sounds complex. So if you're new to this and you're wondering, can I actually learn this in 30 days? Well, if you have some technical background, you can. If you don't and you're completely new to infrastructure, it will take you longer, I'm not gonna lie, but you can start with smaller projects and then build from there. So how would I look at the 30-day plan? Week number 1, I would look at foundations. I would learn AI infrastructure basics like data, compute, models, APIs, security, and then I would get hands-on with cloud, whether it's Docker, Azure, and then deploy a simple AI API wrapper. Now, week number 2, I would start looking into integration and data. So I would build pipelines and APIs. I would master ETL and streaming and GraphQL, and I would add AI-specific security. And then I would deliver a unified, secure API that connects multiple services. If this sounds like a different language, probably it gives you a little bit of context on where you need to start. If it doesn't, then let's move to week number 3. And then what I would do, I would look into monitoring and scaling. So I would set up observability, I would optimize performance with some caching with CDNs, I would design disaster recovery, I think that's super important, and I would look into scaling strategies. And I'd stress test. And then week number 4, I would look into real world and business use cases. I'd develop case studies or model costs or ROI, and then I'd look at how I could package my offer, or I would start looking for jobs where I could apply. And as I said, if this feels a bit too complex for your level of comfort, this next one is just as impactful and a lot easier to learn. Okay, so let's move to lane number 4. Businesses want to automatically engage with their customers and prospects. But here's the reality. Most companies are stuck between expensive custom development and generic, frustrating chatbots that drive customers away. And that is why I believe this next skill is so critical. I'm calling this one the AI conversation designer. Okay, so this is the AI agent developer who builds intelligent conversational systems that actually work. And the skill is not just about conversation design or mocking up UIs. You are basically the one that actually builds the chatbots, the voice agents, the AI-powered customer service systems. I mean, think VAPI integrations or custom GPT implementations or multi-channel conversational AI or intelligent routing systems that can handle complex customer interactions. And if you're thinking, okay, but why is this role that irreplaceable? Well, I think it's because while AI models can generate responses, they can't architect themselves into functional business systems. Somebody actually needs to connect the APIs and design the conversation flows and integrate with CRMs and provide knowledge bases and guardrails and handle edge cases and make sure the whole system scales reliably. That is technical work that requires, in my opinion, human expertise. But the reality looks different. Gartner found that chatbot failures are often based on design problems, not technical ones. And in one Ipsos study, 73% of customers reported abandoning a transaction following a poor chatbot experience. I mean, the impact for businesses is huge. And that gap is a human problem, not a tech problem. In fact, studies have shown that well-implemented conversational AI can in fact reduce customer service costs by up to 50%, I think 30 to 50%, while improving satisfaction scores. I mean, that's massive, right? And according to Medium, businesses using chatbots in the right way can increase annual revenue by 7 all the way to 25%. And clearly, companies are desperately trying to automate customer interactions, but most lack the technical expertise to build anything beyond basic FAQ bot. A properly built conversational AI system can handle thousands of interactions 24/7, replacing entire customer service teams. I mean, even Upwork has tons of job postings looking for this exact skill set. Okay, so let me give you an example so we are clear on what I mean. There was a fintech startup that replaced their generic bot with a carefully designed one and mapped user intents and added empathy statement and built smart escalation triggers. And within 3 months, customer satisfaction scores jumped 40% and conversion rates on upsells also went up. That must have been worth millions in revenue, all from better conversation design. So if this sounds exciting, what you might want to be prepared to offer your clients would be custom bot development, API integration, for example, VAPI or OpenAI or Twilio, and then multi-channel deployment like web or phone or SMS or WhatsApp or Telegram or Slack, analytics dashboards, and ongoing optimization. And the beauty of this skill is that every business needs customer interaction automation, but most of them don't have technical expertise to build it themselves. So you become their go-to expert for turning customer service from a cost center into a competitive advantage. So if this sounds exciting, what I would do for the next 30 days would be kind of like this. Week number 1, I would master the core platforms. I would learn ChatGPT, APIs, VAPI for voice agent, and at least one chatbot framework, whether that's BotPress or VoiceFlow or something else. And then I would build 3 basic prototypes. Then in week 2, I would learn iteration skills. I would learn how to connect bots to calendars or to CRMs or to HubSpot or payment systems like Stripe or to communication channels, like I said, WhatsApp Business or Twilio. And then I would build 2 integrated demos. And then week 3, I would focus on advanced features like sentiment analysis and intelligent routing and escalation triggers and analytics. And I'd create a comprehensive case study with before and after metrics if you are able to access somebody who's willing to be a guinea pig. And then week 4, I would package that service, whether it's a complete AI voice and chat agent implementation or something else. And then I would go and pitch it to 5 or 10 businesses that currently have high customer service costs. And if development is not for you, but you enjoy being involved in the tech space, this next one would be a perfect one to consider. Okay, so let's move to the 5th lane, because so far we've talked about strategy, we've talked about workflows, about conversations, lots of development, but not everyone is a fan of coding or tech development. So if you see potential and you don't want to miss it, but you're not that technical yet, this will be perfect for you. This is the prototype thinker. This is a job that might sound simple, but it's massively powerful. This is the type of skill set that helps you turn vague business goals into working AI prototypes. You're basically the bridge between decision makers and developers, between what the business wants and what AI can actually do. And I think this is massively irreplaceable because AI can generate a lot of outputs with the right guidance, but it cannot talk to stakeholders, it cannot run interviews, it cannot prioritize features, it cannot define success metrics. I mean, it can, but it'll be hard to actually follow up on them. And LinkedIn data shows that AI product management roles are exploding right now. And it's not a surprise. I mean, with so many companies coming out with their own AI tool or personalized app or other AI products, this is something that you would expect, right? And I think the value of the prototype thinker is that you do the mental model translation from business to engineering, and you scout for use cases and you make ideas real, tangible, and you do that fast. And if you think, okay, this sounds great, I think I'm a good fit and I would like to pursue this, what should I go and learn? Well, week number 1, I would study product frameworks like jobs to be done and design thinking, and then I will collect 10 real AI use cases. And then in week number 2, I would prototype 2 ideas using no-code AI tools like, I don't know, Replit or Rocket or Bubble or Lovable or whatever you choose. And then I would run 5 user tests to validate assumptions and document results in week 3. And in week 4, I would offer that as a service, or I would look to get hired full-time or part-time on AI projects because there is so much demand for something like this right now. Okay, now let's move to the next lane, because here's the thing. Maybe you're somebody who is massively creative and you don't want to lose touch with that talent and you still want to get into tech a little bit, but not too deep. Well, this skill I'm calling the GenAI creator. This is somebody who sets the creative direction and then uses AI as leverage to multiply ideas, not to replace them. So imagine being the person who can design an entire brand campaign, messaging, visuals, videos in days instead of months, because AI is your creative team. So if you're thinking, yeah, but anybody can use Midjourney, what makes this irreplaceable? Well, it's because AI can generate content, but it cannot decide what great looks like. It cannot know what will convert. It cannot know why it will convert or why it will inspire the most emotion. It has no taste, no intuition for story, no sense for brand. And I think Adobe found that AI tools boosted creative productivity by 40%, but companies still need human directors to set the tone, to define the narrative, and to decide what to ship. So without a GenAI creator, AI content will just look like generic noise, you know? And businesses are paying for this. Trust me, right now, brands are hiring AI savvy creative directors because every company is drowning in content, but they're starving for direction. So I'm gonna make sure to include here some Upwork examples so you can see that even smaller companies are looking to hire for something like this. So here's an example to bring this home and hopefully make it clearer for you. A consumer brand partnered with a GenAI creator who used Midjourney for imagery, ChatGPT for copy, and a few AI video tools for a storyboard campaign. In less than a month, they shipped what used to take a full agency at least 3 months and cut costs by 60%. The brand called it their most efficient campaign ever. I mean, that is exactly what you are able to do if you're creative and you know how to use AI. That's the leverage of this type of role. You don't replace creativity with AI, you amplify it, okay? So if you're creative and you'd like to pursue this, here's what I'd do for the next 30 days. I would, first of all, make sure that I'm able to provide campaign strategy, brand voice libraries, multimodal content, performance analysis. So how do you do that? In week number 1, I would go ahead and learn prompt design across mediums for text, for images, for video. Maybe I'd start with ChatGPT and Midjourney, but there's a lot of great tools out there. Week number 2, I would build a brand voice operating system template to help me lock in tone and style for my clients. And then obviously I would play with that and test it enough to make sure that it does a great job. And then week number 3, I would produce a mini campaign, emails, socials, I don't know, landing pages, entirely with AI tools guided by my or your direction. And then I would look to package that in week 3 and go and pitch it to 5 to 10 clients. But here's the thing, even the best stack in the world won't save you if no one cares. So lane number 7, I'm calling it the connector. This is somebody who builds the community around a product so that it can actually grow. Because even the best AI strategy, the cleanest workflows, the smartest bots, the most creative campaigns, and the sharpest products, all of it collapses if nobody cares. So pretty much any brand needs lane 7, the connector, the community architect. And the role of this type of person or this type of skill set is to design the human layer around AI products and businesses. You don't just build technology, you build trust, belonging, and momentum. Because I think the truth is that people don't want tools, they want to feel part of something. They want to feel like they belong to a community. So what makes this irreplaceable? I mean, clearly AI cannot replace community, okay? Community cannot be automated. In fact, a recent study that I came across showed that 68% of people can spot AI-generated engagement. And if customers feel that they're just talking to bots, they will at some point disengage. So if you look closely, what they want is a space to connect with other humans, guided by someone who knows how to architect that experience. And I'm going to make sure to include some Upwork job postings here to show you that there is demand for school community managers, for other type of community managers. Because, I mean, communities drive retention, they drive referrals, they drive long-term brand equity in a way that ads, I believe, never will. So let me give you an example to bring this home. There was a software company that launched a new AI tool, but their marketing didn't perform as expected. And then a community architect stepped in, built a private Slack group, and created a weekly expert Q&A, and ran 2 virtual events in the first 60 days. And within 3 months, churn dropped by 25% and referrals spiked. I mean, the community became their growth engine after that. So you can see the huge impact that an engaged, honest human community can have on a business. That is the power of the connector. You build an ecosystem that makes everything else stick. So if this sounds exciting, what you would need to be able to provide your clients with would be strategy, platform setup, whether it's Slack or Circle or School or Discord, an engagement calendar, moderation, analytics, events. And I think it's not necessarily hard to get started with this in 30 days. So for example, in week 1, you could look into all the free resources that exist here on YouTube, in school, even courses to understand more about communities and running communities. In week 2, you can audit 3 thriving online communities and then document what works. And then week 3, you could look into building, 6 to 8 weeks engagement calendar for your favorite community. And if you can, present that to them. And then week 4, offer a community launch in 30 days package for your favorite influencers who don't have a community. All right, so this completes our map, the 7 lanes. But remember, the point isn't to master all of them. That's ego. Okay, so don't do that. It will just slow you down. The point is to pick one, master it, and monetize it fast while demand is high. And then you can partner with people in the other lanes so that you can move faster together. That is how you become truly irreplaceable. Now, if you want to figure out which one is best for you, we have actually created a very simple quiz, completely free, that you can come and take in the school community. I hope we remember to put the QR code here. And then we've also put together a free ebook that will show you for each one of these 7 lanes the exact step-by-step 30-day learning program, including links to some of the courses that we have taken or we have good references for and that you can go and take. Not all the courses are free, just to be very clear. Some are, many are not, or some are not. But I think it'll at least give you a great indication of how to spend those next 30 days in order to make sure that you maximize your impact and you're able to get out there as fast as possible. All right, you guys, that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was useful. I really hope that it gave you some ideas about what you can do next to make yourself irreplaceable. Like this video if you did, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. Come and join us in the community. As I said, it's completely free. You will learn so much. We have challenges every 2 weeks. We have Hive calls, so our community calls every 2 weeks. We have a lot of fun. So come and join us. It's completely free and you will get a lot of value out of it. And until next time, I suggest you go ahead and watch this video over here, and I'll see you soon.